What do we got up first?
All right, we got him first. We get to finally talk about your guy. You swore he was the GOAT, the best player in college football. It's that time.
The Heisman last year. Should have won the Heisman last year.
Hey, shoulda, woulda, coulda. But it's officially that time in Atlanta. Michael Penix, as the memes always say, put Penix in, and now it's time. So, of course, we're talking about the Falcons benching their $200 million quarterback, Kirk Cousins, for the rookie Michael Penix for the foreseeable future. We're assuming it's the rest of the year. So, wild times in Atlanta. They're still in the playoff race. They got the tiebreaker in their division, and they still decide to go with the rookie with 3 games remaining in the regular season. So, obvious question to you first. This is your guy. Was benching Cousins the right move by the Falcons?
Well, I would like if you could give me some credit, because when we did the NFL draft,
all right, hold on. All right, you're right. I'll do this really fast for everybody that's watching for the first time. This guy said Michael Penix was the best player in college football. He should have been the Heisman Trophy. I don't think he said it was the best quarterback in the draft, but he's been hyping up Michael Penix for about a year and a half. And week 15 into the NFL season, he's finally validated. Did I miss anything?
And I also defended the Falcons when they made the pick. I criticized them.
He also defended the Falcons paying $180 million guaranteed to a quarterback coming off an Achilles injury, but still taking a guy in the top 10 at the same position. But
I criticized them for signing Cousins when they could have just had Penix if they really believed in him. So anyway, yes, it's the right decision. Last 5 games, JT, they're 1-4. And a lot of that is because of Cousins' play. And we've always said it. They have the weapons. How many coordinators are going to come through Atlanta for them to find the right coordinator and quarterback combo? I don't know. But this quarterback isn't it. And he even says it himself. He says, I was not playing up to the standard consistently enough. So sounded like he has no issue with being benched. I'm sure he does. But, he's being a pro about it. 1-4 in their last 5. They're 7-7. But he's had 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions in those 5 games. Everybody else in the league, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, they have those stats. They get benched. They don't even make it 5 games. So why not Cousins? What credibility does he have in Atlanta coming off a major injury that he has no relationship with that staff either, meaning the coaching staff? It's not like they've been through the fire together and come out on the other side. So you know what? Why not make the move and make it now before you lose the season and before players start to question, are we truly trying to win? So yes, it is the correct decision.
All bias aside, I'm 50-50 on this because I don't know, man.
JT, I'll say right there, JT, that is the reason why to do it. That's the reason.
And I get that. My thought process on this is, yes, Kirk Cousins is the easy scapegoat. We don't believe in him as a franchise quarterback. We never have since he played for Washington. A lot of people think he shouldn't have been paid the money. Whatever the issue is, he was always going to be an easy scapegoat. And the rookie that we haven't seen play yet is always the favorite guy in town. It's the backup quarterback to the quarterback that's struggling starting. I will say this. I don't know if I would have made this move, and this is my argument against it, since obviously you're going to be for it. They own the tiebreaker in that division. The Bucks are who they're chasing, and they beat them twice. And I know Kirk Cousins has struggled over the last, 4 games? You already said the stats: 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions. But his 2 best games are against the best team in their division, who they are chasing for a home playoff game. And this was a good stretch for them to figure it out. They got the Giants this weekend. I think the Panthers are on that stretch too, and there's another bad team to finish out the season. Why not use that stretch to get Kirk Cousins right? Because it's not like they didn't play good teams. Like, one of the games was against the Vikings. Like, come on. Like, he's had good wins. He beat Philly earlier this year. Like I said, he already beat the Bucks twice. We saw him play lights out. 9 touchdowns to 1 interception in those 2 games. I just don't know if you're a team that is a for sure playoff team and you're in the driver's seat in your division, like, you turn it over to a rookie who you haven't seen play. Because these 3 games, we can call them easy, but they are pressure situations. They need to win all 3. So that's my only hesitation. But based on his play alone over the last 4 games, they had to do something. Whether that's admit the O-line is not as good as everybody wants to say it is. Maybe Zach Robinson's not a good play caller. I don't know, but Kirk Cousins is the easy answer to blame right now. So you have another first-round pick quarterback in your back pocket. I guess why not see what you have? But I'm 50-50 on it. I think it's a little too early, especially this late in the season.
JT, he is it's not the easy answer. He is the answer for their struggles. He's the reason why. And you bring up a good point. It could be 3 games to get them right, the get right games, right? That's great. But let me ask you this. Do you see this team winning a Super Bowl?
That's not the point, though.
It is. That's the point.
No, it's not. It's not the point.
To me, that is the point. I'll explain why. Your next game is at home. Okay, if you know what, man, Cousins is not the guy he was last year pre-injury. If he was the guy last year pre-injury, this team might give the Vikings a run. They'll give the Packers a run. They might even, dare I say it, give the Eagles a run, right? Because they have many weapons.
And I agree with you. If Kirk Cousins was the quarterback we saw pre-injury,
and let me finish.
Our preseason predictions of them running away with this division would be correct. They are in first place in the division. So,
but JT,
so he's not allowed to play bad.
He is, but he's
not allowed to have any struggle at any point during the season because we act like. That's a bad example.
He's not JT.
We act like Jalen Hurts has played great all year, and we'll talk about the Eagles in a minute. But we act like Jalen Hurts has played great all year. But you know what? They let them play through it. They won that game in Vegas. Because they didn't win sexy enough. You gotta just bench him because you know what happens. You cannot go back to him. Not with that contract because. Well, let me ask you this. To me, I feel like the benching is less about his play and more about them trying to save themselves and what they're going to owe him in his contract if he were to get hurt in one of these next 3 games. Because I feel like they were already half out the door with picking Penix in the top 10, but now I feel like they're all the way out on Kirk. And it's obvious he's going to be on another team next year. Like, it's obvious that's going to happen. So, you can't. I don't agree. You can't 100% sell me on the fact that we're doing this because it's the best opportunity for us to win. Like you're trying to protect yourself because you came into you gave him a big contract half-assed.
I don't care how you slice it. It's the right move. Then if you want to say we don't want him to get hurt to move him in the offseason, it's the right move because you're not winning the Super Bowl with him. If you want to say he's not playing well and Penix gives us the best chance to make a run, then that's the right answer. But even furthermore, if you would let me finish my answer, this is a way to get.
Let me turn off my mic. Go ahead.
Penix is old enough and he's sad enough now that these are the games to get him ready to catapult him into next year. So you're not winning the Super Bowl with Cousins or with Penix. So get him. First game will be at home against the Giants. Perfect. You cannot script a better entrance for this guy to start. Then he finishes with the Panthers, and in between, I forget who they have, but that team isn't great either.
It's supposed to be 3 winnable games. They're probably going to be favored all 3.
And that should catapult him into the offseason. And the other thing is, I'm not convinced Cousins gets traded. So the injuries, this and that sounds good.
He's only guaranteed. Whoever trades for him is only guaranteed to pay him like $27 million next year.
Yeah, but who's going to want him? But who's going to want him? Is he really a starting quarterback? I'll tell you what. I'll take Russell Wilson over him these days. And who would have thought that?
You wouldn't have said that at the beginning of the year.
Exactly, and that's my point, JT. That is my point. That is how far Kirk Cousins has fallen. You can't put him out there. And I disagree with you. You can't put him back in. We saw you can put Bryce Young back in. You can put anybody back in. Everyone thought he was done. Oh, you can't put him back in. His confidence will be shot. Forget about that. If you can put him back in and he succeeds, because I know we'll get to him. We'll get to him later in the show. Then that means Cousins. You can follow me. You can follow me back. You can back me up and come in when I don't.
You talking like this? I ain't following you nowhere because we got witnesses. You out here being wild. I get what you're saying, but I disagree. I'm 50-50. If based on his play, you have to do something, but we're going to see if Michael Penix is the answer. My next question you kind of alluded to.
And by the way, real quick, you say, well, a win's a win. I agree. But 15 points on Monday Night Football against the Raiders with those weapons, Bijan, Algier, Drake London, all those
You
guys.
question
That's
those
not good
weapons
enough.
every day. Every day
Not good enough. I know. I feel bad.
He ain't what I thought he was gonna be.
Maybe
Bijan's not worth this. And Drake London's so average, we're not even talking about him.
And
so
maybe that is because
just because you draft a guy in the top 5 or top 8 of the NFL draft, don't automatically make them a superstar. Maybe the weapons just ain't that good. Like,
well, maybe Cousins isn't that good.
I'm always looking at social media. I saw last night or Monday when they were saying, why are they not playing to Kirk Cousins' strengths? Like under center, play action, they got him in the pistol. And somebody, I forgot who was, that asked Zach Robinson about that. And they was like, honestly, we're not doing that because we don't think we can block it. That don't sound like a Kirk Cousins issue. That sounds like this team, Atlanta, to the outside, everybody hypes up all these players that are supposed to be good. And then once you get there, you start to see maybe these pieces aren't as good as we thought they were. Like, this offensive line was supposed to be so great.
But he's talking about the offense.
And they have not protected a quarterback for 3 quarterbacks.
Okay, hold on. And that is even more reason. That is even more reason.
More reason to get his old ass out there.
Penix. Yeah, to go with Penix. Penix is a much better shotgun quarterback.
All right. Let me get to this next question, and then we'll move on from this. Is Kirk Cousins done as an NFL starter? Like, he will not be a starter week 1, 2025.
I already answered that. If Penix comes out in balls, I don't see where Cousins gets picked up. First, you got to trade for him. Second, you got to pick up that $27 million. Why would you just not have another Gardner Minshew in there, another Tommy DeVito in there? If you can't land a big fish and you don't have a high enough draft pick to get like a Shedeur Sanders or a Cam Ward, why Kirk Cousins? You just saw what happens. What happens.
I'll tell you why, because NFL teams are realistic.
You just saw what happened.
I'll tell you why. NFL teams are realistic. I'll give you a couple of reasons why. One is the quarterback play across the league is not great. We can admit that. There's probably a third of the teams that don't have a startable quarterback. Now, some of those teams are in a position to draft them, but some of the teams are stuck with bad quarterbacks. I'll give you an example of a few. The Colts come to mind. The Tennessee Titans come to mind. Like, there are teams that are not in a position to draft a quarterback. And who are the quarterbacks that are coming up in free agency? Because I'm sorry, Sam Darnold is going to be the #1 free agent quarterback. And we already know people don't trust him outside of the Minnesota system. So there will be a market for Kirk Cousins. $27 million is not a lot for a starting quarterback by today's standards. So I think there will be a market for him if indeed they do want to trade him. And also the other thing is, he's coming off an Achilles injury. We thought he would struggle, and he has. But he's also had some moments to show us, okay, like the Kirk Cousins we've seen is still under there. So
has Aaron Rodgers, buddy. Aaron Rodgers
will have a job next year. He'll either be with the Jets or somebody else will sign him. Like, those guys will be starters. So I think Kirk Cousins, $27 million will be a starter.
I disagree. I think for Rodgers, it's Jets or nobody.
We'll see. Sorry. Somebody always willing to take a